Coming in hard. Welcome to CEO Confessionals, business talk for entrepreneurs, real estate wholesalers, investors, and lenders. From beginners to rising starts to moguls. This is CEO Confessionals with Thomas Heil.
Hey guys, welcome to CEO Confessionals. I'm Thomas Heil, and today's guest is Dom Allen from Blue Coast REI.
What up?
Hey, what's up, Dom? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, bro. Blessed. I can't complain at all, man.
All right. Hey, welcome to the show. You are my first guest this year, so welcome, and I really appreciate you coming in.
Nah, man, I appreciate you having me, bro. 100%.
All right, cool, man. Dom, tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, bro, I'm 27. I just turned 27 last month in January. I've been in the real estate business for a little over 2 years now. Born and raised Houston, Texas. I literally just moved out here to Las Vegas, Nevada, a month ago. So it just made a month, like 3-4 days ago. Okay. So literally, like I said, born and raised in Houston. No prior real estate experience, knowledge, anything. Nobody in my family's entrepreneur, business owner, anything like that. So literally everything is straight, trial and error,
Okay. So what led you to move to Vegas?
Man, so right before we actually moved, I just got engaged.
Okay.
My fiance and I, we actually had been planning to move to Vegas. This is something you and I talked about a while ago. So our original plan was to move to Vegas beginning of last year.
Okay.
So beginning of 2020. Mm-hmm. Then COVID hit, things just didn't go, how we planned. We never really felt like we wanted to rush or anything. Like if anything ever feels like we're forcing it, then we'll just wait, like it's no, like, what are we rushing for? But to answer your question, bro, we were honestly just looking for a change of scenery. We're young. We don't have kids or anything yet. We've been in Houston our whole lives. And we've been to Vegas quite a few times. And every time we just really loved, the mountains, and, they have great weather. Does get hot, of course, but it's nothing new to us, being from Houston. So we just really like the atmosphere out here, man. So, just want to experience life somewhere else.
So you took your time and you've been thinking about it quite a long time to make the move. And
right.
One of the best ways to grow is really get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. This was this move, literally, we don't know anybody out here. This was something that was completely out of our comfort zone. We sat there thinking about it, like, man, just trying to make sure that we would be, actually good to do it. We don't know anybody. Luckily, I'm able to run my business completely virtually. My fiance, she's actually an entrepreneur too as well. She's a hairstylist, and she's been able to, literally in a month, she's literally been able to build clientele and everything. So we knew that we would be good because we've done it with less before, so just having that keeping that hunger, it's always that survival mode.
Yeah. One of the great things about being an entrepreneur, you're always looking for resources, and you're always figuring out ways to get resources,
right?
By bootstrapping or however you're doing it. It's right. Having a creative idea.
Right.
So what led you to become an entrepreneur?
Man, I think because I honestly, for the majority of my life, I never really just knew what I wanted to do with my life. I just know that I've always wanted to be successful. And it's crazy because I remember back in 7th grade, we had this little thing in our class where the teacher, she was asking us all, what's our biggest fear and this and that. And I remember I had put my fear was being a failure in life. just because I wasn't the best in school. I never made like good grades or anything like that. So I never really felt like I was, when you're growing up, they're training you that, you have to be good in school or you won't be successful, So I saw that as like, like, man, I'm not good at school. I don't make good grades and things like that. So from there, as I continued to grow, bro, I just knew that I never wanted to really work for anybody else. Like whenever I would have a job or whatever, because I've been working since I was 15, since I was legal age to get a job. Like that's when I got a job. Like, I never was able to buy like, the cool shoes and the Jordans and stuff like that. Cause my parents, they didn't buy that stuff for me. So it was literally, if you want it, you go work for it, and I've tried literally growing up middle school to high school. I sold candy. I sold t-shirts. I had a little clothing line. It's just always been, I sold my art. I'm an artist and a photographer as well. A lot of people don't know that about me, but that was like one of my first passions is photography and art. So it was always just trying to do for myself and trying to, create a life that I could still be free and, move on my own terms.
So would you say like, you mentioned earlier that you don't have family members that are entrepreneurs and you're like the only one.
Right.
It's very difficult to break out of that cycle because like everyone has a different mindset, and that mindset from that family generation of the cousins and everything, it goes from generation to generation.
Right.
And one of the things that most people in the generation is like, okay, I want to break this curse. Was that one of your goals as well?
Yes, it still is actually. Because it's not just me, bro. Like I look at my last name and I look at my family tree. You know what I mean? A lot of my family, they still don't fully understand what I do. They fully don't understand the magnitude of what this is going to eventually turn into. You know what I mean? Because I would say that I'm doing pretty good, but I still feel like I'm just getting started, So they don't actually see, the sacrifices. They don't see what's the moves that are being made. And I know that I have younger cousins who they don't necessarily know what they don't necessarily know what they want to do with their lives or anything yet either, So I know that they might not even reach out to me, but I know that they're watching me,
So what actually are you really doing?
So my main source of income right now is wholesaling real estate.
Okay.
And when I say that, like, that's literally what has completely changed my life. When I found out about this business back in 2018, I literally became obsessed with it. And it was like, because as just how I was just saying, bro, I did all this different stuff, trying to sell this and trying to sell that. I feel like all of that stuff led up to me I was just switching different vehicles, just trying to find the vehicle that can actually, lead me to where I want to go. Okay. So when I found wholesaling, it was like, okay, this is something that I can do, and I became obsessed with it,
So can you explain what real estate wholesaling is?
So wholesaling real estate is basically this. I'm basically playing a middleman. What I'm doing is I'm sourcing off-market deals to investors, right? So essentially, I'm finding people that want to sell their house. I'm negotiating a sales price on the front end with the seller, and I'm going and then taking that contract, and I'm not making any repairs. I'm not doing anything to the house. I'm selling the contract to an investor who wants to buy it for whatever investment purpose that they want to buy it for, right? And I'm taking a cut in the middle.
Okay, then what's the difference between a realtor and a wholesaler, would you say? Because it seems like, this is what real estate agents do.
Right. So the difference is the fact that, so most realtors, they're dealing with properties that are on market, right? They're dealing with houses, people that are wanting to buy these homes to actually live in them, and there are realtors that do work on the investor side as well. But a lot of these homes where in the field where I play, a lot of these homes, they have, they're it might be, you never know the situation. It might be something where somebody's about to be in a foreclosure. They don't have time to sit and list their house, make it look all pretty and have all these showings and stuff like that. A lot of times they might have 30 days to get out. So a realtor wouldn't be able to, I mean, I'm not going to say that they wouldn't be able to, but a lot of times, sometimes those when you list your house on the market, there's a lot of different factors. A realtor is trying to, they're looking for like a first time home buyer or something like that. Somebody who wants to buy this property to actually live in it. Okay. What we're doing is we're sourcing properties for investors, for investment properties. I mean, for investment purposes.
Okay. Meaning like for landlords or tenants or that, right?
Right. Or people that want to fix and flip.
Fix and flip. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's awesome. It's like, and how long have you been doing this for?
So I've been doing this for 2 years. Full time. Right.
Wow. So as you started, were you working at W-2 before a regular job, or what led you to go towards this?
So prior to doing this, I was working as a longshoreman at the Port of Houston. So if you're not familiar with what a longshoreman does, is basically when you see everything that's imported, everything is imported. It all comes through that port, right? So it comes on these like huge ships. And what my job was, we made sure that everything that was supposed to come off the ship comes off the ship and goes to where it's supposed to go. And then everything that's supposed to go on the ship to get shipped back out, we make sure that it gets to where it's supposed to go as well. Wow. And I did that for 4 years before switching.
So basically you didn't stay in the same field. You just jumped to a completely different game.
See, the thing is, even though I was in that field, it was completely just temporary for my life. Like I would be out there literally because we work so many hours. Like we would work 70, 80 hours a week. Sometimes we wouldn't come home and we would just be out there just going. We'd go get like an hour of sleep. And then that 1 hour that we would have break, you got to decide if you want to go eat, get some food, or if you want to take a nap for that hour, So we would be out there for so long. And it was like the money was, it was decent, but it never seemed like enough for the amount of time that we had to sacrifice to be out there. So I would literally be out there on the iPad, literally I'm on YouTube trying to find other things that I can get into. Like, man, this can't be it. I'm not doing this forever,
So now you left a job where you're putting in 80 hours a week. Would you say you're still putting in that much? Because I know most entrepreneurs, they're working more than 40 hours. Because there's a saying where you're giving up your 40-hour job to as not regular W-2 to moving towards a 80-hour a week as an entrepreneur. How do you manage time, or how does your schedule look in that sense?
Bro, if I'm being honest, I might even work more than that. Like I might work more than that, bro, because now when you're an entrepreneur, it's not like, oh, I'm off at this time. It's, bro, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, to the time that my eyes open to the time that my eyes close, I'm on the clock. You know what I mean? Wow. And I might not necessarily be physically working on something, but I'm getting emails. I'm checking emails. I'm looking up, this, I'm looking into that. I'm trying to plan for the next day or for the next week, or, get these things in order, So it's the only difference is I have the ability to do what I want when I want to do it,
So I know myself as entrepreneurs, you're really not doing it at your own time. You're doing it with the client or your seller or whoever you're working. Would you say that's true with you as well?
Rephrase it one more time.
So I know for personally, like when a seller or someone calls, I have to be on top of it immediately. So it's really not my own time. I got to make sure when the seller or the client or whoever I'm working with, when they're ready. Would you say it's the
Right.
same for you?
I would. I would agree, and then some, like in a sense, just disagree a little bit because I do believe that you do need to make time for yourself.
Okay.
But the thing is that some of these sellers, like, it's like when you make a commitment to them, you
Uh-huh.
feel obligated that you have to be there for them. Sometimes these people, you might be the only person that they have to talk to. A lot of times, like if they're older and stuff like this, you can tell because they really pour into you, and it's like, man, you just feel like you should be there when they call, if they have a question or whatever to make them feel comfortable.
Okay. What do you do to make them feel comfortable?
Man, it depends on the seller, honestly. But what I've seen in most people, they just want to be in the know.
Okay.
The more information that you're able to give to them, the more value that you're able to provide to them. And I always say that, and I think it's Zig Ziglar who had the quote, you can make as much money as you want to as long as you help people get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times in the business that I'm in, the amount of money that you make is a direct reflection of the amount of value that you were able to provide to that situation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So as you left your regular W-2 job, did you
Mm-hmm.
just up and quit, or was there a transition period?
Bro, so when I first found out about wholesaling real estate, I already had mentally checked out of the job. I was physically there, but I wasn't there. Like, I started calling in work to go drive for dollars and find properties and this and that. And it actually worked out perfect because it the day the actual what turned out to be my first deal, that day I was actually supposed to go to work, and I called off of work to go look for houses.
Wow.
And that, like, literally, I kept thinking about that, like, bro, if I never would have called, and if I would have went into work that day, I probably never would have drove that neighborhood. I probably never would have landed on that street. I probably never would have saw that house.
So would you say this was your aha moment that you believe that this could work?
I would say, no, I don't think that was it because even though I found that house that day,
Uh-huh.
the seller didn't end up calling me until 2 weeks after that.
Oh,
So
wow.
I didn't know that was going to be my first deal. And then, but I would say the aha moment was because I didn't even, the reason that I didn't know that was going to be my first deal, there were two other deals that I thought was going to be my first deal. Like when I started calling in to work and stuff, bro, I was door knocking. I was looking at pre-foreclosures. I'm going to their door. I'm leaving cards and stuff like that. And there were two different people that were in foreclosure situations
Yeah.
that I thought was going to be my first deal. One of them, I think they like filed bankrupt and they got out of the situation or whatever it was. The second one, I forgot what happened, but both of them fell through. But it was the fact that I got that close what made me feel like, hey, I can do this.
Excellent. Um, so tell us a little bit more about how you first closed your first deal.
So that actually came from Driving for Dollars.
Okay.
If you don't know what Driving for Dollars is, it's basically you find different neighborhoods and you literally just ride around looking for physically distressed properties. So things that you might see, it might have tall grass and windows might be boarded up. Um, the roof might be caving in, mailbox full of mail, any of that stuff. That's Driving for Dollars, right? So that deal came from Driving for Dollars. This ended up being an inherited property. It was behind $12,000 on the taxes, and I was not able at all to get in contact with the owner. So I ended up calling. I ended up calling a bunch of different relatives. I got one on the phone, and she completely acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. She didn't know who I was talking about. She ended up like hanging up and stuff. And then 2 weeks after that is when I got a call, and that same lady ended up being the owner's wife.
Oh, wow.
But she never, like, I just remembered her voice. I recognized her voice when I talked to her later. But she actually gave her husband my information. He called. Bro, I had no idea what I was doing. I literally, like, I'm talking about lowballed, like absolutely disrespectfully lowballed them on this house. I didn't know the area, any of that.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, okay, so I will be walking away. I'm telling them, we can make sure the taxes get paid off, blah, blah, blah. And, you'll be able to walk away with 20,000. He was like, okay. So you're saying I will be walking away with 20,000. And he did like a laugh. He was like, okay, well, all right. And that was that. So when he's laughing, I'm thinking that he's like, okay, I'm thinking, okay, I got a deal. Dude hung up, bro. I didn't hear back from him for 2 weeks. Like another 2 weeks, I didn't hear back from him. And I ended up, how I got the deal was I went back, I looked at the area again, and I called him. And I wasn't able to get in contact with him, but I talked to the wife. And she was like, oh yeah, what did you offer again? So I told her. And then I was like, but I made a mistake on my end. We can offer this. And I offered, I think it was 96,000.
Wow.
And she was like, she got quiet. She, like, her whole demeanor changed. She was like, well, can you make it fast? Cause I'm on the other line. And when I offered that, she was like, she got quiet. She was like, well, give me 1 second. Let me write your information down. I'm like, that's it right here. Let's go. So I ended up getting back on the phone with the actual owner. We ended up locking the deal up on the contract, and it was so many things that went wrong with this deal where I think if it was any other seller, the fact that the seller was so nonchalant about the situation, you could tell he wasn't even thinking about that house at all. Because if it was anybody else, they would have been like, just from all the things that were going on with it. But it was a lot of learning, But ended up getting the deal closed. I ended up when I got a buyer at that number, I realized that I had it locked up too high. I had to go back for a price reduction. I asked him, what would be the best that he can do. He ended up saying 70,000. So $20,000 price reduction. But it was how I did it. I didn't, I let him say the number. So it's like, but we ended up closing the deal, bro, and it was life-changing.
Life-changing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's like the first deal is something you'll never forget.
Right. Yeah.
In that sense, you mentioned you started hustling a lot, and would you say a lot of the things that you did as a child, like selling t-shirts, candy, that really led you to going in this direction?
I would say so, just because it's always been there,
Okay.
It's like I was doing these things. It's like I was a salesman before I even knew what sales was,
Yeah.
So it's like when you look back at that and then you look to now, it's like, I guess all of that was preparing me for, what I had coming to begin with. So I would definitely say that led me here, it's like that spirit has always been there.
Yeah. Awesome, man. It's great knowing that, So you mentioned you've been learning this craft on YouTube and watching videos. Have you received any professional coaching, or how are you learning this craft? Because some of our listeners and viewers, they really are not familiar with real estate wholesaling. How did you get into it, and how did you learn this craft?
Okay, so to start from the very, very beginning, how I even came across wholesaling was on YouTube. Like, I watch a lot of YouTube. Like, literally, that's mainly what I watch. And so I put it up on the TV, and that's all I watch. So it was a video that was on my recommended videos, and it was an interview with this guy. It was like 22-year-old millionaire, whatever, blah blah blah.
Wow.
And I watched that video, and he never said the word wholesaling.
Okay.
He just was hinting towards what he does, talking about cold calling and stuff like that, but he never said the word. And for some reason, that video stuck with me to where I kept thinking about it. I would be at work thinking about it. And I pulled the video up at work and I was watching it. Like I watched it 2 more times. And I went down to the comments to see what people were saying. People were saying, oh, this sounds scammy, sounds blah, 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 da, da, da. Somebody said the word wholesaling. And
Okay.
I was down the rabbit hole from there. So I started looking up wholesaling. What is wholesaling? On YouTube. I started watching all these different videos. And then I'm like, okay, I have to figure out, how do I get involved with this?
Okay.
So what I did was I went on Google. I looked up wholesaling real estate. Saw this little meeting that happened to be that same upcoming weekend, right?
Okay.
So I brought my girl and I brought a friend of mine, and it was like one of those little seminars where they pitch you and this and that and da 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 da. So watching that whole presentation, they did a good job of breaking it down, and I like looking back at it now. I think of it as, it was kind of, if I wouldn't have done that, then would I really have jumped into wholesaling the way that I did? But so we go through the seminar, blah, blah, blah. They do all this stuff. And my girlfriend, she thought it was a scam. My friend, he thought it was a scam. But I'm like, I had already done some research prior. So I'm like, nah, I think this can work. I think this can work. So their program was $1,500, right?
Okay.
I didn't have $1,500. So I went to my credit union that we had a credit union for my job, took out a loan, $1,500.
Uh-huh.
I went and I paid the people, and it was like a week long of like classes or whatever.
Wow.
But the thing is, I became so obsessed with it that I was doing all this learning like on YouTube, right? So when I would come to the class, they're saying stuff, but I already just researched all of that stuff, right? And everybody else that was in there, they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was being talked about and this and that. And then literally it was like a few days, I think it was like the third day, where I realized that these guys weren't actually teaching us the business of wholesaling. They were just teaching us to bird dog for them, to find deals for them. So I'm coming to the class and I'm like, I pull out a book just full of addresses that I found driving for dollars, writing down all these addresses. And I'm trying to get them to like help me call the people and all of this stuff. And nobody's like, they're like, oh, we don't teach y'all to make offers and this and that. And I'm like, okay. So I never got to close any deals with them. It's because I realized, like, bro, they just want us to like bring them deals, like, and that's it, So literally, I was already doing the business without realizing, like this is, the process of the business is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part is dealing with people. The hard part is dealing with problems as they come up, and continuing to move forward. But if somebody was just getting started, bro, there's so much information out here that's free that you don't have to like. That I paid $1,500. But I'm gonna say that I still feel like that needed to happen, because that kind of gave me like a general like first like visual of the actual business. You know what I mean? And from there, bro, it was literally, I was watching YouTube videos every single day, every night. Max Maxwell, I was watching them, and then I was out in the field.
So U2 University was your education into this business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the great thing is, it's so amazing how YouTube is so powerful. Like, for example, I actually remodeled my first house watching YouTube. Didn't do a great job, but it was good enough where it was livable. And it was nice, where the floors look good, the countertops, the paint, electrical work. I had a little bit of trouble, but yeah, I did my own remodel, my own house that I bought in Washington, D.C.
That's crazy, bro. Literally anything you want to learn is on YouTube.
Absolutely. So right now, like just like any business, there's always systems and ways to make decisions and learning. Would you say coaching is something that you recommend, or are you doing coaching at this moment?
I would say that it depends on where you are.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend coaching to anybody that doesn't have a general basis and understanding of the business prior. Because if this is what I see people do, they will immediately go out and get a coach.
Yeah.
And there's two types of people. There are people that'll go out and get a coach, and they will actually do everything that the coach tells them, and then they become successful. But there's other people that will go and get a coach, and they think that that coach is supposed to do the work for them.
Yeah.
You know, they have no general knowledge of how to do this, and then it just becomes, it's like, you don't really want a coach. You want a babysitter. You want somebody to hold your hand and walk you through the finish line on all this shit, you know, and it doesn't work like that. So I would suggest that anybody, you do the research, do your due diligence on the business, see if it's something that you even want to dive into before you start spending money, you know, get a general knowledge of what's going on. And if you feel like you need somebody else to help you get to that next level after you've already done some of the work, then start looking at a coach, you know?
So like you would probably recommend, okay, first do your own research.
Right.
Actually do it. Then as you start getting some more deals in, then hire a professional coach that can help you.
I would. So this is the thing. I wouldn't even say that you necessarily have to have a deal under your belt before getting a coach.
Okay.
What I'm saying is have a knowledge. Like, don't just come to somebody completely blind and say, hey, I want to do what you do. You don't even know if you want to do that. How do you know that you want to do what they do? You know, find out the work that's gonna be involved. Find out, is this something that you can see yourself continuously doing? Because you don't want to just be throwing money at something thinking that it's gonna work when nothing's gonna work if you don't do the work.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, where I'm at right now, I would say yes for coaching, because I'm at a different level where if I want to get to the next level, it's gonna take, I can do the whole trial and error and this and that, but it's like, why do that when I can cut that learning curve and go find a coach? You know what I mean? I haven't paid for coaching I'm talking about like a direct mentor, but I've paid for conferences. I've been to seminars. I've been to, flown out and to go to different workshops and trainings and things like that, because you need that stuff to grow. You get to a certain point where it's like, all right, if you want to get to the next level, I know that I need to go talk to somebody who is at that next level,
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. It's like I spent a good amount of capital, a lot of money on professional coaching, and it led me to, in fact, quadruple my business in a short amount of time. Right now, spending money on a coach that is actually legit. They're actually in the business. They're doing it,
right?
Not faking it. It takes some time to weed through all the people who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I really relaunched CEO Confessionals is to let people know about the entrepreneurship route. As an entrepreneur, there are the highest of the highs, lowest of the lows.
Right.
Sometimes you wish there's something in the middle, but there isn't.
Right.
I know for myself, when I didn't have a coach, I was at the lowest of lows, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And I seeked out help, and I knew right away he was able to fix that issue immediately.
Yeah.
Could you provide us a period of time when you had a low point as an entrepreneur?
A low point, bro. I've had so many low points. It's like, and like they say, new levels, new devils. That's so true, bro. Like the problems, they don't stop coming. The higher you get, the bigger those problems get, the tougher those decisions get. Like, because when you start having, there's other things that come into play. I would say to this day, my lowest point was before I actually closed the first deal.
All right.
That deal took 2 months to actually close after I got the contract signed.
Wow.
And it just felt like, because I got like, when that deal closed, I was down to like, my account was in the negative. Like, we were like 5 days behind on the rent. And it's like I had been doing all the work. and everything is like, man, like it gets to a point where sometimes it's hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it just seems like everything is going wrong and this and that. And then the thing is, I still have to be the man of the household, and I still have to, I don't want my lady to be thinking, that I'm not confident. So I still have to put on this, this persona that I'm confident. Oh, this is this and this. But in my head, bro, I'm worried, and it got to a point where it's like, I thought we were going to get evicted. I thought that, the deal wasn't going to close. And it's literally, I had to talk myself out of that.
How did you feel?
How did I feel?
How did you really feel at that moment? What was going in your head as Dom deep inside of what you're doing?
I honestly was just trying to figure out if I had made the right decision by leaving the job, because I left the job before that deal closed. That whole time, like when I got the contract signed, I told myself I was never going back to the job. I didn't know how much money I was going to make on the deal. I didn't know any of that. But in the book, Think and Grow Rich, there's a part where he talks about when you make that decision that this is what it's going to be, and I'm never going to look back. There's actually a video on YouTube with Think and Grow Rich. And I used to watch that video every single morning, and it kept me going like, no, I can't go back. But in that time where we're 5 days behind, and, my girl, she's crying and stuff. She's thinking that it's not going to work. And, because she watched me do up, bro. When I first started, I was doing everything, and it was defeat after defeat after defeat. Like, I was door knocking, I was doing bandit signs, I was cold calling, and it's not when I didn't have any dial or anything. I'm hand dialing this shit, and every single day when nothing would go through, it's just like, man, like you just feel exhausted, and drained, and it's like did I really make the right decision, And I felt like not only that, but I had other people watching. I've been telling my family like what I'm doing. It was a point where my family laughed because they thought that it wouldn't work, So I'm looking like the laughing stock, and all of that stuff just compounded together, and it's just sitting all on my shoulders, So
how did that make you feel?
It made me feel like I didn't have anybody that was actually believing in me besides my girl.
Okay.
If she wasn't there, I might have broke. You know what I mean? And because when you have, when you tell family and friends things, people that are close to you, you expect them to believe in you.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that doesn't always happen because they can't see the vision that you see. And then for a long time, I was literally I didn't want to talk to my family at all. I'm talking about for months at a time where I was just I'm dealing with them, this and that. And then I realized later on, I can make stuff happen. I don't need them to believe in me. You know what I mean? Because, when you pull yourself out of a hole, it's that feeling. It's what else can really happen? I can come back from anything, just keeping that faith.
It's interesting to say because there's always a saying, the people that will cheer you on and support you the most are the people that are not related to you or not friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that want you to succeed. Then the people that are really close to you is where you don't get a lot of support from. So I find it very interesting, especially when you're around other entrepreneurs. It's just a positive thinking of knowing that you have to push through.
Right.
And it's very important and critical that you surround yourself with people with that same mindset to really encourage you to know that, hey man, I was once there.
Yeah.
And when you say you're once there, that's when you know it is possible.
Yeah.
and everyone's timing is very different.
Mm-hmm.
So as an entrepreneur, you also have the highest of the high. Which one moment right now since you started was the highest of the high for you?
I would still say that first deal. When that check came through, that check, like I'm literally telling you, my account was negative, 5 days behind on the rent,
Yeah.
and a wire for 27. I still have the screenshot of the wire, but 27,000 and some change, right?
Yeah.
27,000 and some change comes through. I had to get the wire. I wanted to get the check so that I can show people. I
Yeah.
had to get the wire because the check, I had to pay the damn bill the next day. So I didn't have time to wait for a check to clear or none of that.
Yeah.
Like, that was the moment where it's like, yo, I literally watched these videos. I put it to action, and I manifested it. Like, because this is the thing. I forgot to mention this part. So when I first found out about wholesaling, I was telling everybody that I knew, anybody that would hold a conversation with me, I was telling them, hey, look, I just started this, da 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 da. I'm about to make 10,000 in my first 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm about to make 10,000. I told my parents that. I'm telling friends that. I'm telling other family members that, and this and that. And you know how people, they kind of like, oh, okay, okay, right. So in those 2 months, I didn't hit that goal, but after that, when I locked up the contract, which was the third month, that was like that like God has something bigger for you, you know. Like don't even trip on that. Just keep going, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, because I ended up doing, like, what is that? It was actually 28,000, because it was something. When I went through, another buyer ended up keeping their $1,000 earnest deposit, because they literally, it was a whole month went by that they didn't close. Found out that they were trying to wholesale the deal on the back end. Literally, they left the whole message on my phone on accident on three-way. I heard their whole plan and this and that, and like a month went by that they didn't close on the property. The contract expired. I kept that 1,000, but it was literally man, I forgot how I was going with that. Damn, I hate when that happens. So it when all of that stuff happened, man, I lost it. It's cool. But bring it back. I'm literally going back to how I felt at that time.
Yeah.
Like, but I ended up doing about 3,000 away from doing 3 times what I said I was gonna make originally.
So what was the reaction of your family members when they found out that you did this?
I didn't even tell them, bro.
Really?
I didn't even tell them, because I didn't. It was like I was still so upset from the first time that it was like I don't even have to prove it. Like, that I would just show them that because when I told them that I had quit my job, they thought that was the dumbest thing that I could have done. Why would I do this? And that's a good job, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, man, at that point, I was like, bro, I'm just going to show them. Like, not even show them, like physically show them. Because even right now, they still don't know how, they don't know how much money I make. They don't know how much money I have, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they see what's going on, and they know that I'm not working at this job. They know that I'm not working, like it's like fuck it. Like, if y'all don't want to, try to believe in the front, on the front end, I don't have to physically show you the proof. Like, the proof is right here,
Yeah. So right now you have a roof over your head. You're doing very well for yourself. So if you could do anything different, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done differently? That's a good question. If I don't even know if I would. I don't think I would do anything different, bro. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. When you when you really do believe that everything happens for a reason, if anything was to change, I probably wouldn't be the same person that I am right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like whatever happened, it needed to happen. It had to happen, or else I wouldn't be this person that I am right now. Certain things happen to humble you. Certain things happen to build you up. I wouldn't have the strength that I have right now if, you know, if everything didn't go exactly how it went.
Yeah, I agree. I know the first time I met you was at an event in Houston. It's called Wholesaling. And I've never seen you ever before within the Houston real estate community. I'm also from Houston. And that was, I guess, a big differentiator where I got to know who you are.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it stuck out in my head. I'm like, all right, this kid's going somewhere. I don't know what it was.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. And at that time, I think you were very brand new at that event, right?
Yeah. That was my first like conference I ever been to.
Okay.
So I was just eyes wide, like, you know, I was nervous. I was like, man, like, you know, it's some big players walking around, and I'm like, damn, like, people like, what are people gonna talk to me? Like, you know, like I'm not this like big investor or anything like that. You were actually one of the first conversations that I had that whole night, and like it was like, so when we started talking, I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like, wow, this guy's like really, bro, because you have to think, bro. Like I have like, I'm not the typical real estate person, bro. I have tattoos on my neck. I got tat on my face. You know, my ears are gauged. You know, so I don't. It's a lot of times where I think I expect people to judge me before.
Yeah.
So when you started talking to me, I'm like, oh shit, okay. And as I'm talking to you, then other people start talking. But you were definitely one of the first conversations that I had at that event, because at first I was kind of just standing off to the side a little bit. Like I didn't really know what to, you know, how to act or who to try to approach, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's like a key thing. It's always about network. A lot of people don't realize, like, real estate, even not just real estate, any business is a relationship business.
Yeah.
People always want to do business with people who they like and who they could trust.
100%.
For example, in my business, I have some guys that if I'm doing a deal with them, I just tell them the numbers, the information, and they don't even need to go look at the property just because of the level of trust that is there.
Yeah.
And having that is very key. For you right now, in the past couple of years that you've been doing wholesaling since 2018, what led you to your success so far?
I would say just that, exactly that right there, what you just said, bro. My ability to build relationships with people and actually, you know, leave an impact on everybody that I meet. Not even necessarily like where I'm changing their life or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like just having, you know, that integrity and actually seeking, not just talking to people to get something out of them, not just, you know, trying to befriend people just because of what I can take, but actually focusing on building genuine relationships with people, whether that's potential partners, whether that's actual clients or sellers or whoever, you know what I mean? So I just try to build as many relationships and be as genuine as I can. And people feel that, you know? So it's never like, because when people approach me, I know very quickly if this is somebody that I would want to continue a relationship with. You know, you can feel the energy. You can tell when there's something behind the door that somebody wants or that they're trying to get in on. You can, you know, you can feel that. So I think that really being, you know, just trying to be genuine and trying to, you know, really actually care about building relationships with people and keeping those relationships at the same time, I think that's led to a lot of my success.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like a relationship is one of the key things of any form of business. For you in particular, has there been anyone in your network that played a huge role in your journey?
Bro, I would definitely say you are one of those people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, who else in my journey? Bro, I don't really like. I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm like super close with a lot of people, but I do have a few friends in this. One of them is a guy that I met through just JV and Sean Reynolds.
Okay.
Like we've literally we met just because of a phone call. That I had a deal. He called me about the deal. He said he had a buyer, this and that. That deal came with a lot of issues, and we ended up working through them. Found a buyer, and we ended up, bro. We literally, this was still kind of fresh in the business, and bro, we did all this stuff. It was so much stuff going on with that deal. We ended up only making $2,000 a piece. The person we assigned the deal to, they ended up wholesaling to somebody else. They made $12,000 off the deal.
Wow.
But that's one of, I would say that he's one of the most genuine relationships that I have as far as real estate goes. And a lot of that has been because we've been growing. We've been able to grow together, him with his business, me with my business. But I mentioned you as well because you have been a powerful contact as far as, I've never gotten I've never gotten anything but genuine from you. You know what I mean? If I reach out to you, hey, bro, it's a situation that I've never seen before, or, hey, what do you think about the numbers on this, or whatever it is, it's something with real estate is the fact that you never know it all. It's always going to be some situation that you've never seen before. So I would definitely say that, bro.
You're flattering me, man. No, man.
It's true. That's true.
I was just giving you some tips, man. That's all I was doing.
No, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. But Dom, do you have any big advice that you would give to any new wholesalers that's in your industry that's coming in 2021 with the current landscape, which is very difficult? What tips do you give?
The best tips I can give, first and foremost, do not fucking stop. No. Keep going. No matter what happens, keep fucking going. And secondly, get around people that are doing what you want to do. Get around people that are, you don't have to bug them. You don't have to, sit there and constantly, nag them and this and that. But you need to find people that are doing what you want to do and add value to them. If you're looking to get your first deal, you might not know all the steps. Find somebody that does. Bring them a deal and say, hey, look, I got a deal. I don't know what else to do. We can both make money on it, And once focus on getting the first deal, you get the first deal, that's what makes it real, So I would just say, because the business is up and down, but as long as you keep going, it's inevitable. Everything it's all a numbers game. As long as you consistently be consistent, as long as you consistently talk to people that are in distress situations, as long as you consistently make offers, eventually you will get a deal. It's inevitable,
That's an excellent tip, guys. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and I look forward in doing another recap with you in the next year and just see how much you've grown from today.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me, bro. 100%.
All right, thanks, Dom.
All right, man.